Due to the nature of my job, I often had to move houses. Sometimes we lived in rented apartments and sometimes in rented houses. This happened when I was transferred to a place called Hagi in Yamaguchi Prefecture. There I found a cheap house for rent and decided to take it. It was overall a good property, but there were a few drawbacks. Although it was large, it was a bit ramshackle and it also stood isolated way back in the mountain. Nearly a month had passed since we started living in the house when one day my daughter found a strange box in the garden. Now, during my first holiday there, I did go around the inside and outside of the house, taking time to check everything over to make sure all was well, so I was sure there was no such thing as a box in the garden before. I would definitely have noticed it if it were there because it had a very characteristic look. Although I think my psychic power is next to none, I could sense there was something really uncanny about the box. If only I had made a right choice then, I probably wouldn't have had to go through all the terrifying experience that followed. But I decided to burn the ill-fated box. I'm sure anyone with a common sense would have either thrown away or destroyed the thing. At the time, it seemed to me there was no better choice. Or so I thought. A few days later, a terrible incident took place. My friend had a car accident. The car went up in flames, and by the time she was taken to the hospital, she had already stopped breathing, having suffered burns all over her body. Again, a few more days had passed when yet another friend of mine, who, while having a bonfire in her garden, caught fire by accident and suffered severe burns on both her right arm and the right side of her face. I went to visit the friend in the hospital and asked her what had happened. She told me that just a few days before the accident, she dreamt that she was being burnt alive. I am someone who does not believe in such things as superstition, but this time, maybe I knew what might have caused those accidents. After I left the hospital, I immediately went home and searched the garden. I found the small hole where I tried to burn the box and discovered that the box had survived the fire. I remember that just when I reached out to get the box, I felt an awful chill come over me. Some dolls tumbled out of the box. There were 3 dolls in all. One of them had been burnt to a crisp. Another one was only half burnt. The last one was completely intact. They were all traditional Japanese girl dolls wearing kimonos. When I picked up the half-burnt doll, the doll's kimono crumbled away. In the moment I saw the doll's now bare back, I was struck by utter terror. My friend's name was written on it. The one that was completely burnt was too blackened, so I couldn't make anything out, but I think I had enough information to guess what might have been written on there, because the one that was left intact had my name on it. Everything was a mystery. Who did this thing? 3 of us didn't particularly have anything special between us. I have a lot of other friends. I could not think of anyone holding a grudge against me. Why was this thing left in this house? Was there someone living here before me who had a grudge against me? But I have no acquaintances living in Yamaguchi Prefecture. Everything was just so extraordinary. I moved out of the house soon after the incident. I took the dolls to a shrine. I cannot forget what the person at the shrine told me then. I tried to purge them, but they are not something you can purge. The grudge that infests these dolls are not of human origin. The other day I organized a birthday party at home. During the party I took many pictures, and after I had them developed, I noticed something bizarre. One of the pictures showed a closet behind my smiling friends, the door of which was slightly ajar, and from the crack, a pale-faced, red-mouthed woman peeping out, glaring straight at me. I panicked and immediately called on a psychic to have the picture examined, but the guy said, "I feel no spiritual energy emanating from it. This is not a ghost picture." Oh, thank God. I was relieved. What you need: a building with 10 stories or more, with an elevator. Number 1. Get in the elevator. You must get in alone. Number 2. While in the elevator, go to the floors in the following order: 4th floor, 2nd floor, 6th floor, 2nd floor, 10th floor. If someone else gets in while you are doing it, you cannot complete the ritual. Number 3. When you arrive at the 10th floor, press the 5th floor button without getting out. Number 4. When you arrive at the 5th floor, a young woman will get in and join you in the elevator. Do not speak to her. After the woman gets in, press the 1st floor button. Number 6. After you press the 1st floor button, the elevator will take you up to the 10th floor instead of taking you down to the 1st floor. If you press other floors' buttons at this point, you will fail to complete the ritual, but this is also your last chance to quit it. Number 7. When your elevator has gone past the 9th floor, you can take it as a sign that your ritual is now well nigh complete. There is only one way of checking if you have been successful at the ritual or not. The world you have arrived should have only one person, namely you, in it. I do not know what happens after you arrive there, but I can tell you this much: the woman who gets into the elevator on the 5th floor is not a human being. Here's one man's experience of the ritual. I tried it. The company I work for has a 10-story building, so it was convenient. It was a holiday and no one was around too, so I went 4, 2, 6. The 6th floor is where I work and I could see my empty office from the elevator. Then I went 2 to 10. No one was getting in. It was a holiday after all. Then I arrived on the 5th floor. The door opened and I saw someone standing there. It was a woman too. I was startled and let out a little gasp, but it was just my senior colleague, Miss Takamoto, pseudonym. She was a woman about 30 or so. She was laughing at my reaction. "You're working overtime too, Miss Takamoto?" I said, and let her in. I was going to press the 1st floor button, but I thought it would appear weird for a person to come to the building the first thing in the morning and then immediately leave. And anyway, the ritual was already over, so I gave up and pressed the 6th floor button. When I come to think of it now, it must have appeared weird too for a person to come down in the elevator and go up again without getting out. Lol. But then Mrs. Takamoto pressed the 10th floor after me, which made me jump a little. Well, I think she works on the 10th floor. I thought maybe something might still happen if I ventured to go up to the 10th floor, but if I had gone up there with Miss Takamoto without reason, she certainly would have taken me for a weirdo. So, with much regret, I got out at the 6th floor. As I was getting out, I thought I heard someone click her tongue behind me. I spun around, but the elevator door had already closed, and I wasn't sure if it was Miss Takamoto who made that sound. Maybe I just imagined it. So, nothing happened to me after all. But I wonder what Miss Takamoto was doing on the 5th floor at that time of day. I bought a camera which was supposed to be able to photograph a person's appearance 10 years from now. I took a photo of myself for fun, but the picture that came out had nothing in it. What? It's broken, lol. Then I took a photo of a friend who happened to be nearby. The picture that came out showed an image of him looking like a beggar. Now I'm really worried about his future. One night I was reading a book in my flat on the 2nd floor. I had often heard rapping sounds inside my room and I thought it had something to do with the weak foundation on which the building stood. But that day, some sounds were coming from a poster in my room that was unusual. Before long, I heard someone's footsteps going up the stairs outside and I thought my big brother was home. But the footsteps went on and they wouldn't stop. That was odd, and within less than 3 minutes, I was popping my head out of the door to see what was going on. I found a woman standing on the stairs, looking confused. Is my brother's name home? I assumed by the look of it that she was my brother's girlfriend, so without thinking very much, I replied, "Not yet." "Oh, I see." Looking quite disappointed, the woman walked back down the stairs. My brother's going out with some weird girl again? I thought, and went back into the room. But then I realized something. My brother was on a business trip and he wasn't coming home until 2 weeks later. If the woman was really his girlfriend, she should have known that. And why didn't I remember about his business trip until now? "Can I please wait for him here until he comes back?" I heard a voice from behind, and before I knew it, it was already morning. After I woke up, I was wondering if all of that had been a dream when I got a call from my brother on my mobile. In the call, he said his best friend had passed away and asked me if I could attend the funeral on his behalf. When I think about it now, that was kind of an odd request. I couldn't say no and went to the address he gave me. Usually when a house is holding a funeral, they put up some temporary direction boards around the house, and you will see those as you draw near to the house. But I saw nothing of the kind and thought that was odd. When I arrived at the house, there was no reception either. I thought my brother must have got the address wrong, but just as I took out my mobile, a woman came out of the house and greeted me. "Oh, aren't you my brother's name?" "Oh, no, I'm his younger brother." When I answered, she said, "Oh, of course. My brother's name isn't a student anymore, is he?" She chuckled to herself and invited me in. I was then told the house was indeed where my brother's best friend used to live, but it had already been 5 years since he had passed away, and my brother had attended the funeral too. I pressed my palms together in the prayer at the little altar inside, which was his portrait. I didn't recognize the guy. As I continued chatting with the lady, I was thinking I must call my brother and get some explanation for this, but just then I got a call from my mother. She told me that my brother had been in an accident in the place where he went for the business trip. Without so much as saying goodbye to the lady, I dashed out of the house and rushed to the train station where my mother said she would be waiting for me, and together we traveled to the place where my brother was. We managed to arrive sooner than we thought, but my brother had already gone into a coma. His rescue was delayed due to him having been trapped inside of a car. The doctor said we had to brace ourselves for the inevitable. As I sat on the bench in the corridor with my mother, trying my best to comfort her, my ears caught some irregular sounds of footsteps. It was still early in the day and it was nothing unusual to hear many footsteps in the building, but that particular set of footsteps which had caught my attention was not like usual footsteps. Then it dawned on me that I heard those footsteps before, on the staircase outside of my flat. In front of me appeared the woman I encountered at my flat. "Not yet, not yet, not yet." I heard her mutter over and over again, and I knew in an instant that she was the one who brought it all about. I glared at her and said, "Go away," in my heart. In a flash, she stopped muttering and her eyes swiveled round to look at me. Her face didn't move an inch, yet only her eyes swiveled around like lightning. Now, I became aware that I was dealing with something terrible and felt chills down my spine. I didn't know what on earth I could do, and for a while, me and the woman just kept glaring at each other. Then suddenly, there came another set of footsteps, and for 1 second I looked towards the direction where the footsteps were coming from, and when I turned my eyes back, the woman was gone. I was thinking, what's happened, when a man about the same age as my brother appeared in front of me. "Hey, you tell him not to make me worry too much, alright?" he said, and making a fist he gently poked at my head a few times, and then he disappeared. The man's face was the same as the one I saw in the picture at my brother's best friend's house. My brother eventually woke up from a coma. Later, I asked him about the call, but he said he never gave me one. I looked at the call log and discovered that his name wasn't on it. When I told him all the strange things that had happened to me, My brother cried.
Sinister V's, sinister voices. Yo. Action-packed Black Mac 10, Junior and his friend, not a pot to piss and starving brothers on a mission. 2:30, brilliant plan around the toll booth, GW Bridge, got the weapon concealed, nothing to lose. They choose to break the rules at all costs, stick them in Jersey, hit the other side to New York, black and red leather suits and black biker boots. One got the gun, the other one controls the motorbike, adrenaline pumping, dreams of cash. Anybody try to stop them getting lead in their face, believe that. Black